Hello, I just wanted to stop in to talk about my library book haul from yesterday and series Ketchup. So I just caught up on the Tiny Pretty Things series by Sona Charaputra and Donnell Clayton. I actually picked up Tiny Pretty Things from my own TBR pile. It had been sitting there for I don't know how long, and I feel like I've been missing out all this time because I picked it up and it was like 6 o'clock at night. I'd had a full day of working on stuff and I just wanted to relax and read, and then I ended up reading this until 3 o'clock in the morning because I could not put it down. It was so good. And then I was talking about it on Twitter and somebody said that the sequel's supposed to be really good as well. So of course the next day I immediately went to my library and I got Shiny Broken Pieces, the second book in the series, and I did the same thing. I stayed up until 4 o'clock last night, the night before the making of this video, and I just kept saying, okay, I'll get to the end of this chapter, I'll get to the end of this act, and then I'm going to put it down and I'm going to read the rest the next day. Never happened. I kept going, and before I knew it, it was 4 o'clock, and then I woke up at 7 o'clock. It was horrible. But here I am, I'm alive, even though I look a little dead. Late night reading marathons will not kill you, kids. So this is a YA series about a group of students at a prestigious New York Ballet Academy, and it's basically like Mean Girls plus all of the ballet documentaries I love. The thing about these kids is that other than when they're being completely dominated by their strenuous ballet classes, they're basically independent and free to do what they want, and they're also trying to claw their way to the top. So there's backstabbing, there's sabotage, there are vicious rumors. It's like every horrible thing. It's like high school concentrated. These books are so well written and they're fast paced. And actually, Shiny Broken Pieces was one of my library books from my haul from yesterday. I had to go pick up the sequel once I was done with the first one after I heard that it was just as good, and that was correct. It was just as good as the first. So the library has been really awesome for me. I've been rediscovering it sort of because I'm freelance now, and so I can't just spend all my money on buying books on Amazon. So I've been trying to make a point to go to the library more often, and after failing a few times and having to pay some fines because I'm not used to renewing and I'm not used to turning things in on time, I finally got into the swing of it and I'm going a lot more often now. And so I got a couple of books actually for the Book Riot Read Harder Challenge videos. I was talking about horror books. So I got Horror Store, which is basically a haunted house novel wrapped in an IKEA catalog. It's just like a really funny, interesting idea. And it's about these employees at a very IKEA-like store called Orsk, and one of the employees is asked to take this secret nighttime job at the store where they're trying to investigate why these weird, horrible substances keep appearing on the furniture. And then, a bunch of other employees end up getting involved, and they're all there, and they start to do this like paranormal investigation. It's just kind of a fun, interesting sort of read, and if you're interested in knowing more about it, you can click the link below to check out the Book Riot Read Harder Challenge video. The other book that I also talked about in the Read Harder video was The Weird. This is an anthology, and I had not heard about it. It's edited by Anne and Jeff Vandermeer. If you read a lot of like sci-fi fantasy short stories, you've probably heard of Anne and Jeff Vandermeer. The Weird is just this anthology of strange and dark stories, and it has all of these authors that I've been wanting to read, and to be able to read them in this package where they're telling horror stories, which I love, is perfect for me. Like, I've been wanting to read Kelly Link, and I actually have an Angela Carter book in my TBR pile, but now I can like sort of start out with a short story from her. There's also Jamaica Kincaid and some of my old favorites like Stephen King and Clive Barker. So I'm really excited to read some of these, especially with the Halloween season upon us, of course. And I just realized I was actually lying. I did buy a book. I ended up buying I ended up buying Spiral, and it's the sequel to The Ring. And the reason that I bought this, I thought, like, you know, I had some sort of library fine, and I was like, well, maybe I should just buy a book. And then I ended up buying a book and going to the library, so whatever. So this is a sequel to The Ring. I have not read The Ring, but I've watched the movie and I've heard a lot about it. I don't know if I want to, like, go back and read the book. But I just wanted to see, because the movie scared me a lot, and so I was hoping that I would get a scare from this book, from the sequel to it. So I've been reading a lot of horror books, a lot of them on audiobook, and I've been kind of struggling to find something that really scares me. I generally find I have a hard time being scared. Like, I read Hex by Thomas Oliver Holt, and I wasn't scared. The last book that really scared me was probably The Passage by Justin Cronin. The second one in that series did not scare me, though. So I don't know what it was about The Passage that was just, I found it terrifying. There was something in there, and I had a little bit of insomnia. But that's the last thing ages ago, like years ago, that I read and that actually scared me. So if you have any recommendations, if you can recommend the book that really terrified you, like the scariest book you've ever read in your life, if you have any recommendations or suggestions for me, please do leave them in the comments, and I'll see if I can pick them up from the library. So that's it for me now. I'll see you next time. Bye.